G'day guys, welcome back to the late show for Beers and Breakevens. We're going to change it up a little bit this week. I'll get Timmy to explain, but Catmandu is working over there like a busy little bee getting the show ready. We're running a little bit behind schedule this week, so just the two of us. We normally do the questions, and to be honest with you, Tim, I'm just stoked that I can't lose a rock off today, which is a nice little mix-up for me. What's the POA for today? That's plan of attack for those not in the know.
It just never ceases to amaze me, and I say this a bit, but your intro to the late show is so loud. Our poor listeners must lose their ears coming into this one each week.
Tough knock.
Anyway, mate, the plan of attack, the POA, is we did this for the first major buy round 13. I had a bit of fun with it. So we're looking at super pods for round 16 and moving forward. What is a pod? You had a POA, I've got a POD.
Yeah.
Point of difference player. So we're looking at players active in round 16 that are owned by sub 10% of the top 10% ranked overall super coaches. The players that if you want to get in and take a gamble on, you can really make some moves if they go well. On the flip side, it can backfire, but there's a plan there. And the way we're going to do it is we're just going to scroll through the list and do it off cuff like we do the questions side of the late show, and just going to find a few.
So that is sub 10% ownership in the top 10%. So that's around about the top 16,000, which you're just sneaking into at the moment. Shout out to you.
Touché.
Mate, you take us away because you've got a little spesh for us.
Yep. So we're actually going all the way down. I don't know how you're doing it, but I'm scrolling from top down, and I'm actually starting at 6.5% ownership.
Oh.
Ryan Papenhuyzen.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
A rich man's Fletcher Sharp.
Oh, Pappy, he's so fun to own. Obviously, first game back from injury, 692K, break even of 61. The Storm have a few good weeks coming up. The Dolphins this week will be relatively tough, into the Raiders and the Tigers. He's a bloke that we know, if he comes back anywhere near his best, like he has the potential to be a season-long keeper. Whether or not he needs the goal kicking to be a season keeper, I'm not sure, but we know he can do it. They have their last bye, the Storm, in round 19. Papenhuyzen, I don't think I'm going to do it. I just wish I'd seen one game of him back, but I can see why people would.
Yeah, great little play there. I can completely see why people would. I'll tell you what, if he picks up the goal kicking at some point, Timbo, flip the table, it's going to be Ron. Very interesting.
No, you wouldn't dabble with the idea though, or?
Of Pappy?
Yeah.
No, mate, I'll dabble with the very best of them. Don't you doubt me. I'm a dabbler of note. I will be considering Pappy at some point for sure. I like that.
Yep.
Very good shout. Now, my player that I would like to point out, first of all, he comes in at a whopping 3.7% ownership. Real pod stuff here. Now, over the last few weeks, this is his last 5 scores. 59, 49, 121, 72, and 88. So if you have a look over the last 5 weeks, player X has 3-round average of 94, 5-round average of 78. He only has one more bye to come for the rest of the season. He is not origin impacted. He is a hot boy of hot boys, Herbie Farnworth from the Dolphins. And I am slowly, Tim, convincing myself that maybe I need a little slice of Herbie. I think he's coming in at 704K, averaging 67 for the season. Got a break even of 70, so you can wait a week. Buy in round 18, which I couldn't care less about. Plays 16, plays 19. I'm interested.
I had a good look at Herbie.
Yeah.
The damn price tag is very expensive.
Yeah, he's not cheap. He's a bit of bicky.
But like big numbers for him. And like he's up there with the best base plays in the game in CT dub anyway, basing 36 per game. He's only scored 3 tries this season. Like, what do we got? Storm under strength this week. Dragons, great matchup. Buy in round 18, which is like, cool, that's easy to cover. We've got a full round of games. Bunnies in round 19, Panthers in round 20. Brutal, but every chance Panthers players rest after that one. Oh, I think he's such a great buy. He's just so expensive.
Mate, even that game against Penrith, like from looking back at last year in grand final and stuff, like Herbie saved his best games for the Panthers. He just goes to work when he's going against those top sides. He's one I hadn't really looked at before until we started having a look for this show, but he's one I am very interested in. I was out at Parramatta the other day and someone pulled me aside and said I've got him as a pod player, and I sort of giggled to myself, but my God, I am if you already own him, if you're part of that 3.4%, full credit to you.
Yeah, done very well.
All right. So, Tim, if we go back to 10%, we start to make our way down. Obviously, Pappy's at 6.5%. Is there anyone before Pappy that stands out to you?
No, there wasn't.
From that group?
There wasn't like above him. I will throw it at you, and this is one that I'll be honest, I'm not that keen on, but I'm keen to get your opinion on. Both the Spy and Maxi Bryden are really eyeing him off this week. Canberra Raiders legend Jordan Rapana. So Jordy Rapana, obviously a goal-kicking fullback. I'm just trying to find where he's gone and get his exact 2.6% ownership overall among the top 10% of Supercoaches, Roo. We know he works his arse off from fullback or wherever he plays. 82 last week, 67 the week before. Tigers this week. Goal-kicking fullback at a good price of $550K. I don't think his ceiling is good enough to warrant getting in. The way my team is set up, I'm pretty well good for round 16, so I'm more focused on getting numbers for round 19, but they're both really keen on him. What do you reckon?
Yeah, ceiling's the issue for me, mate. I've never been overly high on Rapana as a Supercoach player. And you know what, mate? To be fair, these stats are a lot better than I thought they'd be.
They're good. They're good numbers, yeah.
They're very good. What are you looking at? One game below 50 so far this year. So I can understand where the boys are coming.
That was 34 against the Roosters when they got pulverised.
Yeah. I can understand where the boys are coming from. Not for me. And I just, if I don't go Rapana and those boys do, mate, I don't think it's going to be one that I'm going to look back on and go, it's the one that got away. Like I just don't think he's got those 130s that'll really hurt me. So I don't know. I don't think it's a bad play, but not a guy that has grabbed my attention. Obviously, you've got the other one that was just below Pappy was Ruben Porter, who I'll be looking at this week. Doesn't really fit this category, though. Mate, what about... I've already got him in my side. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. What about Victor the Inflictor?
I'm just looking through it. I thought you were going to say, you own Victor.
Yeah, I own Victor. Yeah. Brought him a couple of weeks ago.
Thought about mentioning him, then I looked at his last two games. I was like, despite the fact, yes, I know you're beating me overall, you've killed a few blokes of late.
I have killed a few.
Victor Radley being one, Jesse Ramian, you've heard a little bit. Wade Egan, you've destroyed.
Greg Marsh.
Just look at this way. How the hell are you beating me?
I know, mate, the world's against me. Everything's against me, and I just find a way to kick your sorry ass around, you know?
Except last week.
Fuck you.
3 points. What's he at now? 580K. Back-to-back scores of 47, 40. He was going so well, but he's got 4 of his last 5 scores under 50. When did you buy him?
Oh, probably just before he went shit. As per
You wouldn't have bought
usual.
him during those period of 40s because you'd be like, it's not appealing. But look, he's played 80 minutes, 3 games back-to-back, 47, 42, 96. 96 against the Raiders where he had a try assist, line breaks. He destroyed us.
That's what killed me. I was there for that game and I saw him run that line to score that try and he won me over.
The numbers are underwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, he peaked at, 630K, so still 580 now. He's not... There will be attack in him. He is playing 80 minutes, but I think I just need to see a little bit more. How do you feel as an owner? And you obviously played this week. What's your plan? Because he doesn't play round 19. He misses round 23 as well. What's your plan with him long term?
Haven't thought about long term. I need him to start scoring some tries there. I'm going to have to start planning long term and work something out. Who else you got, Timbo?
Mate,
what else?
I have a Roosters teammate that is a cracker. This bloke, $549,000, a break even of 36. He bases 31 points per game. We talk about him every year, but I haven't owned him in a long, long time. He's coming off a ton at 0.5% ownership. Less than 1% of top-ranked coaches own him. Daniel Tupou.
Do you mind if I jump in?
Go for it.
I've had him in draft all year.
Yeah.
I think that when you've got Suoli'i inside him, you don't want him.
And he scored his double last week without obviously Suoli'i.
Shock me. Yeah. Yeah. When Suoli'i's there, he doesn't tend to pass the ball to him, which is an issue. The reason why I drafted him at the start of the year is because I thought Billy Smith was going to be inside him.
Yeah.
And he gives him so much ball. When Suoli'i's there, he doesn't. But Suoli'i's still got 4 games he's out for still.
3 or 4.
3 or 4. I don't know. When Suoli'i's back there, it's not for me. You're also relying on Teddy passing the fucking ball too.
Who played left centre last week?
Jenko started there.
Yeah, and then Crichton went out there.
Crichton went out there. And Crichton created a heap of opportunities for him. So
I already own Manu, Dom Young.
Proceed.
A little bug flying around you
It's
that's just
getting
got your entire attention.
Yeah.
You get him?
No, another missed tackle. Sorry, coach.
Yeah, so I already own Manu, Dom Young. I'm getting Teddy.
Yeah.
I think it's just too much investment in one back line. I'm like, from what I've seen on the Roosters, nothing suggests they'll hit a wall, but it's the NRL. It happens. Like the Bunnies last year, Cat, were leading the comp after 12 rounds, then hardly won a game after it. It does happen. We've seen it happen to the Roosters at times where they've just not performed over longer periods. But seriously, there's a lot of upside there.
0.5% is outrageous.
It is. For
Absolutely
a bloke with a big
outrageous.
ceiling in a gun team with a gun draw, like seriously?
31 base, averaging 62. Yeah. He's also got 2 buys to come still this season, 19 and 23. But yeah, once Suoli'i's back inside him, that's a no bueno from me. I'm
Anyone
just
else
having a
there for
little
us, mate?
scroll through. You really distracted me with the Daniel Tupou play. I like that.
I'll throw another one at you.
Yeah.
And it's a Gold Coast Titan. It's a bloke with 2 tons in his last 3 games.
Yeah.
Fullback only, 588k, break even 37. Like Keano Kini has been a revelation in the last 3 weeks for the Titans. Plays the next 2 major buy rounds, some decent money incoming, depending obviously what he does this week. Does have the buy in round 17, be aware of, but he's playing some serious footy.
He is playing some great footy, mate. He was electric the other day.
Yeah.
When's Brimo due back?
Listed for about round 18. What's going to happen?
Oh, fuck knows.
Seriously?
I don't know.
He's been their best player for 3 weeks in a row, Kini.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to leave him out of that side, but AJ Brimson was their best player before he got injured too at fullback. So I have no idea what to do there. And if you do go Keano Kini and he ends up holding onto that spot, it's an absolute masterstroke. You know what? If you're someone like Cat with a heap of trades, it could be a little punt worth taking. I reckon he carves up the Warriors this week. I reckon he goes big. What did he score on the weekend? 120. He didn't have a try.
Yeah.
They got beat and they scored 10 points. It's outrageous. He is a proper footballer.
Yeah. So, look, I think it's probably a week too late. Shout out to Desi Creek, who bought him in last week.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I should have seen that coming.
I know.
I heaps should have seen that coming.
But at 588 now, you're sort of going, you're paying a lot of money for him. I just think job security a question mark. I don't trust the Titans to be any good. I don't know what the Warriors are going to throw at them this week. Goes into the Sharks after the bye. But as I said, could be a masterstroke, but not for me.
Yeah, it's quite a punt to take. Mate, the one bloke that just caught my attention, but I just had a look at his stats. They probably don't back it up enough, but fuck, I've loved watching Connor Tracy play his footy this year.
I've looked at him very often, and it's funny because in the past at the Sharks, when he'd get big minute games, he wouldn't do a lot and he'd score really well with, he'd have 1,000 runs, a bunch of tackle busts, offloads, and he just went, if he could get a full-time crack at an 80-minute role, he'd be a goer. He's in a doggies team who are playing great footy. The stats aren't quite there, are they?
They're not. They are not quite there. Been very disappointing. Not very disappointing, but I thought it'd be better. Mate, what about at 1.1%? Now, I think it's pretty evident he's been carrying injuries recently. If we can see towards the back end of the season that he can start to get back to himself, Tohu Harris, 1.1% is incredibly low for him.
Oh, he's not dual.
Yeah, that is the real stinger this year.
That lock issue from before, from beers and breakevens. He, at front row, yes, but because he's played all games this season bar 2, his minutes before that injury where he missed 2 games, so he played around 15-14, missed 12 and 11. Before that, he was playing regularly 65 plus minutes, played 80 in 5 or 6 games. He's come back to minutes of 49 and 44. God, if he was at front row, I'd be very interested. 2RF.
What about for the back end of the season, mate? Because this is where, we obviously had big talking points the back end of last year that if you got on the right guys at the right time and whatnot. Guys are at 1.3 and 1.5%, 2 big-time players, Hamiso and DCE.
Yeah. I even eyed DC, I think it was last week or the week before, and just in a half-pack position where, you have a really good draw coming up. Obviously, DC missing a few games due to Origin.
Yep.
The problem is with DC, back end of the year, yes, but obviously missing 16, misses next week, then misses around 19. He'll back up because he always does, and he's just a marvel, the old boy. A huge option in the back end of the year, especially if, God forbid, anything happens to Ruben Garrick and he kicks goals in that team.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
And, Nath Cleary, let's see how he goes on return. Let's see what happens. Nico Hines, they're going to be the main 2, but stranger things have happened.
Hamiso is another one that I think is worth considering. Have you still got him, Kat? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot Kat's not on this episode. Hamiso is an interesting one for the back end of the season too. Oh, mate, I'll tell you what, when I look at this competition, outside of the Tigers, I'm not quite sure at the back end of the season, and it might not even be the Tigers once they get all their troops. I'm not quite sure who's going to be the team that's going to get beaten up by 50 every week. That we last year it was the Tigers, and I jumped on those Manly boys. Yeah. I think they played Tigers Canterbury, who were both just gone, shut up shop, we'll see you next year. I'm not really seeing any teams like that at the moment. The Titans are very disappointing. They can compete with anyone in any given week.
They've got good games in them.
Once the Tigers get Bateman, Isaiah Papali'i, these guys back, I don't think they'll win games, but I think they'll hang in games. It's going to be a really, really interesting finish to the season.
It is. Mate, Sean Johnson is at 600K with a break-even of 141. If you're going to bring him in, obviously you'd want him for this week, match up with the Titans and covers a major buy around. But 21 last games, his first game back from injury layoff. The game before that, 35 points against the Roosters in 67 minutes. He was injured that whole game, put a line through it. Before that, though, he had scores 93, 68, 95, 112, 75. He averaged 78 last year. He's going to be could be 540K next week. For a bloke, we know what he can do. He's not goal kicking at the moment. If he was goal kicking, I would give him a long, hard look. But just without the goal kicking, I don't think he can do it.
1.8%, another one. We spoke about him last week already, so no need to go into too much depth. But Brian Kelly as well, mate, the Enigma.
Is he still that low? What is he?
1.8% Brian Kelly, 630K.
Mate, I think I had him in my stat deep dive on Beers and Breakevens last week. He hasn't scored under 50 since round 4, and he's played every game since. He scored under 60. He scored under 60 once since round 4, and that was a 50 against Melbourne.
Yeah, wow.
And I think he scored 2 tries this year, basing 32.
Whilst we're on the Titans, I don't think we mentioned him, but at 4.9%, Jaden Campbell as well. Sub 500K at the moment.
Little testy pop.
Little testy pop. Come and find him. 5'8" / fullback.
He's pretty popular this week.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not plenty, but enough are flocking to him. For the reasons you mentioned before, AJ Brimson to come back. Does Jaden go to the bench and Kini keeps his spot? I don't know. My issue with Jaden Campbell is he beat up the Rabbitohs and Tigers. He scored 77 and 75. Good numbers, but he's not going to play them every week. In fact, he's not going to play them again this season. So he now goes into Warriors, I don't know what the Warriors will throw up. Then he has a bye. Then he has the Sharks. Eels in round 19 is a good matchup. Or he also has a pretty poor injury history in recent years, like the rest of the Titans spine. What do you reckon?
Yeah, look, even at the start of the year when people were really high on him and he was in a lot of sides, I've never been overly huge on Jaden Campbell as a SuperCoach player. Love him as an NRL player, but yeah, SuperCoach, I don't know. I wouldn't have confidence week to week in him, especially in that side. Last one I'll mention, mate, and he is injured at the moment, but towards the back end of the season, Jacob Preston. Low ownership, has a try in him. Minutes surprise me when I read his stats here. Like, he actually hasn't played. He's played 80 minutes in one game.
It's because he's come back from injuries.
Yep, yeah. But even like the start of the season, like 63, 70, 67, 68 on the edge. I think that when he's fit and available, he's an 80-minute back rower. But yeah, probably scraping the barrel a little bit.
Oh, geez, do I have one for you?
Oh, boy.
0.1% ownership, $553,000. SuperCoach, great. Cameron Murray.
One for me. That's one for you, mate.
Absolutely.
You fucking love
He'll find his way into my
Murray.
team at some point.
You froth.
Break even of 96, coming off the bench last week back from injury. I'll be welcoming Cameron Murray to my team after the Origin period.
Yeah, I think that's a good little shout.
And
Yeah,
he will take me
skyrocket.
to glory.
Yeah, okay. That is that us, Timbo?
Yeah, look, mate, unless we're going to start talking about Ryan Jackson, Zion Manu, and Junior Ponga. No, we're done, mate.
We're done and dusted. Thank you for joining us once again, guys, on the Late Show. Something a little bit different this week. Going through those pod plays for you guys to have a look at. How important do you think pods are for the back end of the season, Timmy? Do you think they're overplayed a little bit, or do you think you need to start to get a couple in?
I think they're probably overplayed a little bit.
Yep.
I think there's just quite a bit of diversity among teams, and some people are holding big money players like Nico Hines and Latrell Mitchell. Others are selling and completely changing up teams. At this stage of the season, everyone's at different stages with what depth they have, with what trades they have. There are a lot of different variables going on. So my advice around pods is don't get them purely because of their ownership. If you like them as a buy as much as anyone else in the comp, and look, maybe you're tossing a coin between a 3% ownership player and a 70% ownership player, in that case, maybe, all right, let's go the point of difference and do that. But make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and make sure the reason isn't purely because they're low ownership.
They're low ownership.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, fair shout. I'll back that. Mate, the very last guy I'm going to mention, and I'm just going to throw him in there, and it's not a play for now. Trust me, I repeat, it's not a play for now, and he's actually not even playing this weekend. But I think he's going to be very cheap when the time comes.
Cam Munster.
No, but not a bad play. When KP does return, I reckon Greg Marshall's, and I'm still going to have him, so I'll be the only poor soul on that ship, but he could be a very interesting play for those last 3 or 4 weeks. Greg the leg.
When Ponga comes back, I'll only need to see one game of him and feeding Marju on the left to justify getting Marju at 240K.
I won't need one game. I'll need the highlights from last year.
Yeah.
And I'll be all over that.
Yeah.
I want trades to be able to do something like that. But what's their run at the end of the season like?
Marju is Ponga. When Ponga's feeding him, happy days. Finishes last 5 rounds, Tigers, Sharks, Rabbitohs, Titans, Dolphins.
That Dolphins game could be against, if they finish top 4, that could be against no one.
If they rest.
Yeah. Which they could.
It's a great
they're not
draw
really
home.
losing games at the moment.
Hello, Kalen Ponga.
Yeah, that is
And Greg Marshall.
huge. I'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. 2 games at McDonald Jones to finish the season.
Ugh.
And Titans will definitely be a Saturday afternoon game. Dolphins, interesting. Love that. All right, we're going to farewell you for the second time after that little diversion there. Thank you for joining us. Such a nice hat, Tim. It's really caught my eye today.
I just wish you could buy him.
I wish you could buy them.
Anyway.
Oh well, can't win them all. See you soon. Thanks, guys.